I hope you've had a fantastic weekend and are really enjoying your holiday. It's been a gorgeous day out there today, so I hope you've got out in the garden a little bit as well. Now, this is chapter 8 of Lavellan. If I remember correctly, what had just happened was she found found the Lavellan, and then Darwin started growling, didn't he? And it turned out that there was some people across the river. So let's see what happened next. Darwin pulled back his lips, making his nose crinkled and his teeth shine out in contrast to his fur. Across the river, I saw the two men who had come to the house before. The Lavellan had vanished, scuttling off in the grasses with the fish. I don't think the men had seen it, but I couldn't be sure. They were both grinning, and I used the binoculars to get a better look, curiosity mixing with the fear. Honestly, there was nothing remarkable about them. I remembered them from the other day because I had been frightened and the event was etched into my memory, but if I passed them in the street, I don't think I would be able to say what they looked like afterwards. Their smiles unnerved me, though. We had been hiding the last time they came. They hadn't seen us. This time, they were staring straight at us. I let Darwin growl, hoping it would frighten them off, but they started splashing across the rapid stream. If I hadn't been so worried, this might have looked funny. One of them almost lost balance against the rushing water, but his friend grabbed hold of him, glaring and snapping at him to be more careful. When it looked like they were about to reach our side of the river, I jumped to my feet. "Darwin," I said quickly, "we need to get back to the house." Darwin would not take his eyes off the two men. His lips curled back even further as it registered that they were coming closer. I didn't think I would ever hear anything more terrifying than his growl. I was wrong. Darwin opened his mouth further and barked. But this wasn't like a normal dog barking. The bark seemed to come from further within, somewhere deeper than any bone or organ. It was a low sound, low enough to turn my stomach as the bark got louder. It reverberated around the hills and travelled back to where we were standing. When I heard it, I felt sick with fear, even though I knew Darwin wouldn't really hurt me. I've lost my place. Dramatic pause. The two men had stopped too, and one of them was trying to pull the other one into the stream, away from us. "It's his bark," he said, his voice high and squeaky, and the other paused but didn't push his friend away. Darwin barked again, the same terrifying noise from before. My stomach flipped, and I flopped on the ground, feeling my legs turning into jelly. "Come on," the guy said, and his friend let him lead across the stream. They were leaving, but Darwin watched them go until they had disappeared over the next rise. The moment they were out of sight, his tail started wagging, and he came to lick my hand. Any trace of the fierce dog had vanished, and the hair on his back was back to normal. I walked, or rather staggered, home. Well, home, you know what I mean. When I felt as though my feet were not going to take any more steps, I clung on to Darwin's neck and he supported me. We got home after what seemed like 5 years, and I flopped into an armchair while Mum went to get me some water. She didn't ask what happened or why all the colour was drained from my face until we were sitting together in the safety of the living room. "Okay," she whispered, "tell me." I told her everything about the men, forgetting in my fear and exhaustion that I had seen the Lavellan. I told her at the end, and for the first time in that conversation, she smiled. "That is brilliant news, darling," she exclaimed, but I was in the mood for answers, and the questions were rolling around in my head, making the back of my eyes ache. "Who are those people?" I asked first, the first and most pressing question. Mum looked at me for a moment and sighed. Perhaps she realised she needed to tell me, or perhaps my discovery of the Lavellan had softened her a little. But I could tell she was going to tell me this time. My patience had paid off. They work for a man I know, she started. I used to work for him, collecting rare animals and cataloguing them. Mum shivered, but I didn't say anything. If I broke this chain of thought now, I might never hear the answers. His name is Eric Budge. I didn't realise when I worked for him why he wanted to know about these rare animals, and he's a hunter, a poacher, one of the most devious, despicable living things on the planet. He would take my findings and go and look for the animal himself, using my notes and research to help him. Mum did not look me in the face when she said this, but I realised that it wasn't because she was lying. It was because she was ashamed. He would find them and kill them so he could have them stuffed and kept in his special collection. It was sickening. As soon as I realised what he was doing, I left and started keeping some of the animals where they would be safe. But he knows where they are now, I said as Mum trailed off. She nodded. Yes, he does, she agreed. So we need to find out a way to keep them all safe. He wants Darwin. He doesn't have a Coochie in his collection. But above all, he wants to find the Lavellan. Why? I asked the obvious question. I don't know, she shook her head, but I don't want to think about it. Remember me telling you that the Lavellan was intensely poisonous, but could also cure animals? Well, I don't think he'd be very interested in curing animals, so I assume he wants to use the poison when he's hunting. I felt sick. He asked me a long time ago to find the Lavellan, but fortunately I could never find it. Now, as well as keeping Darwin and the others safe, we must find a way to protect this creature. Eric cannot find it. What do we do? I asked. We can't keep it here, Mum said. We can keep it for a few hours and that's it. It's springtime, and for all we know, it might have babies. If we keep it from the babies too long, they'll die. But we know where it lives. What if we just keep a watch over it? I suggested. But there are only 2 of us, Mum said. I can't ask your dad or my colleagues to come, not with this virus going round. No, I don't know what we can do. Did they see the Lavellan? I don't think so, I said. They were more interested in Darwin. Mum relaxed slightly. That's something, she said. That means we have tonight to come up with a plan. There was silence for a few moments. I tried to think of a way we could protect the Lavellan and Mum's pets. Mum, I suppose, was thinking the same. In the silence, all I could hear was the ticking of the cuckoo clock on the wall. It made me feel sleepy and made my thoughts begin to wander. Mum, I asked almost silently, those guys were terrified when Darwin barked, and my stomach went all funny. Mum nodded. The Coochie barks 3 times, she said, holding out a hand to Darwin, who stuzzled it. The bark is so terrifying that if you hear the 3rd one and are not in safety, you die of terror. That's the story anyway. That's why people in the past were so frightened of the Coochie. And that's the end of the chapter. So in the next chapter, they have to go and find a way to protect the Lavellan from this nasty, nasty one. Now, I will post up the next chapter on Thursday. Hopefully I will write it before then, because it was a bit tense writing it just now, because I knew you needed to get up today. So I hope you have a lovely couple of days and enjoy the sunshine. It's been a lovely day today. Get out into the garden if you can. Kick a ball around or play Skittles or something that is going to be fun and good exercise. But most of all, just enjoy yourself. I will see you on Thursday. Bye for now.